right. Good morning. We have Mr. Bryant. Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
So would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
Jonathan Earl Bryant, 323280.
And you are represented by counsel. We'd like to ask them to enter their names.
Good afternoon, Ms. Renat. So Robert Lancaster with LSU Parole and Reentry Clinic today, here representing Mr. Bryant. With me is Mecca Hussamadeen. She is a second-year law student at the Law Center, enrolled in the clinic. She's not certified under Louisiana Supreme Court Rule 20, but she's been working with Mr. Bryant in preparation for the hearing today. If the board deems it appropriate, she can also make a statement in support of a recommendation for clemency at the end of the hearing.
Great, good. Hussamadeen. Okay, thanks. I appreciate it. Let me acknowledge the folks you have there in the room with you at the penitentiary. And let me just say, I won't go over everybody's name, but I do have the list. So it's indicated to me that speaking on your behalf will be Jerry Bryant and Reginald Bryant. So at the appropriate time, we'll call on them to do so. First, let me just read some identifying information into the record. Well, we also have the Parole Project. Let me acknowledge that they're here and they'll be speaking as well. Joining us by Zoom is your cousin, Vanessa Jackson, as well. Let me just read some identifying information into the record. I'll ask you to confirm it, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Roche. Your case has been assigned to him. He'll do the interview. We'll hear from the folks that have indicated they want to speak. And before we turn it over to Mr. Hussamadeen, we'll ask you your statement before she closes it out. Okay? So, Mr. Bryant, you're here this afternoon seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in Tangipahoa Parish in February 1993 to a life sentence for a second-degree murder conviction. Mr. Bryant, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you answer Roche's question?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Morning, Mr. Bryant. How are you?
Doing all right.
Good. Good. I'm fine. Thank you. Get back, relax, and we're going to have a conversation, okay?
All right.
Madam Chairman, fellow board members, we have Jonathan Earl Bryant, DOC number 323280. Mr. Bryant is here today seeking a commutation of sentence for a second-degree murder conviction in 1993. The victim was a friend or associate of Mr. Bryant, Mr. Bobby Beecham, or some people would say Bochet. On May 4th, 1992, Mr. Bryant turned himself in to the Hammond Police Department, and he was charged with second-degree murder in the death of Mr. Beecham. And this was 2 days after the murder. Is that correct, Mr. Bryant?
Yes, sir.
On January 12, 1993, Mr. Bryant pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in the 21st JDC. On February 10, 1993, he was sentenced to life at hard labor at DOC without benefit of probation, parole, or suspension and sentence. Mr. Bryant is currently 49 years old. At the time of the offense, he was 19 years of age. May of this year, Mr. Bryant will be incarcerated for 31 years. Mr. Bryant, exactly what was the relationship to you and the victim at the time he was shot to death?
I knew of Mr. Beecham. I never really hung out with him. I knew of the family of Bobby Beecham. I didn't know him very well as personal, I knew of the family.
Okay, so you just engaged Mr. Beecham to help you get a motorcycle back from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, to Hammer.
To Hammond, okay, to Hammond. So basically, you were not close friends, you were not associates. You just needed somebody with a pickup truck that would accompany you to Hammer to pick up a motorbike.
Yes.
And the shop was closed that day, so tell me exactly what happened after that.
We left after we went to the motorbike shop, it was closed. We left and went to a bar room. We started drinking. We stayed there about an hour or so. We was drinking alcohol and beer. We left there and went by my auntie's house where they was playing cards. And we continued to drink, and I told him, man, look, I'm gonna stay here by my family house. You could go ahead and go, just let me get my motorbike off the back of your truck. He told me I could not get my motorbike off the back of his truck, and we got into a dispute, turned to a heated argument. He pulled a knife, and I wound up shooting him with a shotgun.
Okay, now let's talk about this night. There were several witnesses, Mr. Baggett, Ms. Preston, your aunt, Vicky, I think Vicky Preston, one of your relatives with the last name Walker, and Vanessa Jackson were all witnesses to this crime. Is that correct?
Yes, Vicky Preston is not my aunt.
Okay, but what I'm saying, she was present, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the first shot you shot over his head, is that correct?
I shot in the air to try to get him to back up with the knife.
So that's when all the people came out.
Yes, sir.
And those individuals, according to my reports, tried to talk you down and tell you to please put the gun down. Is that about right?
Yes, sir.
And from the police report I read and the eyewitnesses statements that I read, you were about 12 to 14 feet apart. Is that correct?
But yes, sir.
So you were standing in the bed of the truck and he was on the ground. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So a man with a knife on the ground, 10 to 14 feet away, and you were afraid that he was going to stab you?
Yes, sir. Every time I went to, I raised up with the motorbike, he would run toward me with the knife. And when I picked up the shotgun and shot, I was not trying to kill him.
I know, but what I'm saying, Mr. Bryant, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but you were standing in the bed of the truck and he was on the ground. How could he run towards you?
He was like, every time I would pick up the motorbike, he would run toward the bed of the truck, like he was gonna jump on the back of the truck with the knife.
His knife was never recovered. Where did the knife go?
I don't know, cause I got scared and ran.
None of the victims saw a knife. I mean, none of the witnesses saw a knife. The police did not recover a knife from the scene. I was just wondering what type of knife was it?
I seen a shiny object in his hand. It appeared to be a knife. It by me being under influence.
Appeared to be a knife. Okay, now you were in the bed of the truck. Where did you get the gun from?
I got the gun out the bed of the truck. It was my gun.
Okay, it was your gun.
Yes,
You
sir.
were in the bed of the truck with the motorcycle.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay. So basically, and after action is again, everybody on the scene pleaded with you. Please back down, put the gun down. Why did you shoot Mr. Kim when he was on a different level and you were in the bed of the truck and he did not jump in the bed of the truck and he got the gun?
Because I was afraid that he was gonna hurt me.
Uh, let's talk about drugs and alcohol. You said that you went to the ballroom when the shop was closed. You had a number of drinks, and then you went to your aunt's house, started playing cards, and you started drinking at your aunt's house. Would you say you were intoxicated at the time? You
Yes,
shot.
Yes, sir.
Was the victim intoxicated also?
Yes, sir. Both of us had been drinking a very good amount of liquor.
Yes. So exactly, was there any drugs involved?
No, sir.
Have you ever used illegal drugs?
No, sir.
Not even marijuana?
No, sir. I don't think I ever done was drunk alcohol.
What was the alcohol of choice?
Was drinking gin and beer. What is it?
And at what age did you start abusing alcohol?
About 15.
15.
Yes,
And
sir.
you were 19 years of age when Mr. Beecham died. So
Yes,
you were alcohol for the last part of your teen years between 15 and 19.
Yes, sir.
Where did you get the alcohol from?
I wasn't old enough to buy it. He was buying. I was giving him the money. He was buying the alcohol.
Yeah, but when did you get the alcohol at the age of 15?
Getting people to go in the store and pay for it for me. And hanging around older people, and they were drinking.
How often did you drink?
Probably on the weekend.
Okay, when you were 15, were you in high school?
Yes, sir.
Did you graduate from high school?
Dropped out in 9th grade.
So you dropped out when you were around 15.
Yes, sir.
Have you managed to enroll in a GED program? Did you
Yes,
get
sir.
consulate?
Yes, sir. I'm in GED school now.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you about you currently enrolled. So tell me how you doing.
Doing good.
At what stage are you?
I'm right at about to take my get ready for the OPT.
Good luck. So let's talk about alcohol again. What have you done since incarceration to the problem you have with alcohol?
I've taken substance abuse to
Which program?
substance abuse, living in balance.
Okay, that's
Part 1 and 2.
okay. You attend AA meeting?
No, sir.
I'm almost sure they're available at You guys stay penitentiary, why don't you attend and
Well, I had left the Camp F and went to Camp J for the COVID, and when I got back in Camp F, I was trying to get back enrolled in GED school, and it's not and I took living in balance, and they saying that was that was part of AA. Living in balance 1 and 2.
Mr. Bryant, do you consider yourself an alcoholic?
Yes, sir.
And what's your sobriety plan if and when you release?
I would get my GED, finish getting my GED, go to AA 12-step program, and continue to strive to be a better person and do the right thing.
If you need to attend NAA meeting?
Yes,
if and
sir.
when you-
Yes, sir. I would definitely join that because AA and substance abuse has helped me, and it showed me what my downfall was in life.
How about getting a good sponsor?
Yes, sir. I will do that. I have.
And I'm glad to hear that simply because life is stressful. You're gonna have disappointment, you're gonna get depressed, and you need NAA to get sponsor so you can talk about it and talk you through the stressful situation.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bryan has a low risk assessment. There's a low needs assessment. He's housed in minimum custody. What's your current job, Mr. Along with your GED full-time, but I understand that you have another job also.
Vice President of Camp J Unity Club.
Okay, tell me what your responsibility is as Vice President of the Camp J Unity Club.
Sir,
Tell me your responsibility.
making the orders out, making sure they get to the administration building to be signed, making sure that when the truck come, everything is on the trucks, doing all of the correspondence and the paperwork, making sure the offender population get their food in proper amount of time, and as well as security.
Right. I also see that you were president of the Academic and Recreational Club at Camp F. Tell us about that.
It's basically the same, and with that club, we do stuff at the rodeo. We sell ice cream. We have ice cream concession at the club where we sell to the public, and we donate food to death row and to the Camp F offender population. I make sure all the correspondence is taken care of, paperwork is done, and everybody get their food in a proper manner of time.
I see there's two positions of leadership. Were you elected by your fellow offenders or were you appointed by the administration?
By the offender population.
So you were elected by a majority of the offenders that you cared with.
You were elected by a majority of the people that you're here with.
Yes, sir.
Now, tell us about some of the other programs that you completed.
Victim awareness, thinking for a change, Cage Your Rage, CPR, 100 hours.
So have you had an opportunity to use your CPR training?
No, sir.
But you're ready and willing and able, right?
Yes, sir. Because I would rather help save a life than to ever take another life, sir. That's why I took that class. I want to be a good person, not a bad person.
So let's talk about your disciplinary conduct. You have 9 disciplinary write-ups and 31 years of incarceration. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your last disciplinary write-up was in 2016. And the 2 before that was in 2011. So you've only had 3 write-ups in the last 12 years. But I'm a little concerned because all 3 of those write-ups were for contraband. So tell me what the contraband was in all 3 of those write-ups.
The first one was $50 that I found coming from death row delivering food from Camp L. The next one was some CDs and DVDs and cologne that I had in my possession as being the president of Academic and Recreation Club. And the last one was some cigarette tobacco that I had, which I have taken substance abuse and living in balance to correct that situation.
It was just cigarette tobacco, right?
Yes, sir.
So really, I'm glad to know that it's not any serious contraband, cell phones, illegal drugs. And it was $50 bill that you found and you weren't supposed to have it, and tobacco and some CDs that was associated with your position with Camp F, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I see you have the initial transition plan with the Louisiana Road Project. They're going to provide the residents and employment. And then after the initial plan is complete, you have a plan in Bel Air, Texas, which is a suburb of Houston, Texas. Who will you live with and what will you do for employment?
I would live with my cousin Jerry Bryant, and I would get a construction job, but I would like to first finish the parole project plan and go through the programs that they have to offer and start AA down here before I make any further steps. And get a job down here.
Because you need to stay with the beginning road project until then you're ready, and then you get an interstate compact to use some Texas. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Enclosed in the packet that I received, you have some letters of support and acknowledgement from Louisiana State Penitentiary officials. Former Warden Dal Benoit complimented you on your performance during the COVID-19. Assistant Warden Nicholas Sanders calls you a dependable, trustworthy, and a hardworking offender. You got a letter of recommendation from your supervisor, Ms. Roach, a letter from Colonel Paul Smith talking about the positive transformation, and you have a letter from Assistant Warden Robert Butler, a past supervisor, and Assistant Warden James Cruz. You also have a letter from a friend and saying that you're a longtime friend. Warden Amber, would you like to add any comments, remarks, observations this time?
Yes, sir. I can tell you that Offender Bryant, has led, he's been the head worker at Camp J. Everything that's over there, he makes sure it's handled, all the paperwork, all the ordering for the food and stuff. And he also reconciled the tickets at the end of the day. He has been a positive, offender since I've been here at LCIW, one of the kindest that I ever, came across since I've been here. And to let you know a little bit about him with his GED, he enrolled in January of 2019, and then he was taken off for medical reasons in 20. He re-enrolled on August the 23rd, 2022, and he's still assigned 9. He's on the right track with that. And
Go ahead.
but no reports since the ones he told you about, and he was very truthful in the statement that he said about those reports. Everything that he told you, the reports were for, that's what they were for, the contraband.
Thank you, Ward Mayor Bowles.
Welcome.
Madam Chairman, I do have a recommendation. And I will share with my fellow board members.
All right, thank you, Mr. O'Shea. So I don't see any other questions from my colleagues, so we'll hear from the support first. We'd like to hear from the Parole Project.
Yes, good afternoon. Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project, here to tell you that we are in full support of Mr. Bryant. We will provide him the transitional services that he needs after 31 years of incarceration. That'll include his evaluations with our social worker for both mental health and substance abuse. He'll ensure that he follows all the recommendations from that. He'll also get assistance in with his medical and health needs. He'll have programming and technology and social norms, financial matters. We'll provide him the full transitional support until he's ready to make that move to Texas.
Moving back to the penitentiary, could we hear from Jerry Bryant?
You can stay right there.
Oh,
I
yes.
can hear you.
Yes.
Go ahead, sir. What would you like to know?
Okay. Okay, I would like to keep first giving honor to God and also respect for you guys on the board there. I'd like to keep this about Jonathan Earl Bryant, at least the focus. I grew up with Jonathan and his mom took me in. My mother had died of breast cancer at a very young age. And so we all kind of lived together. Earl, the characteristic Earl had today, it was no different when we was coming up. If one of the aunts needed any assistance or he can do something to assist them or help them work-wise, doing chores around the house or whatever it was. The guy he was a little guy, but had a big heart. He was always about doing something. I was more in the education. Earl was a very smart kid at the time. Of course, he didn't always want to hit the books, but he wanted to just be busy doing other things. He's good with his hands, can do any type of job you would ask of him. He was just that type of young man, very mannerable, just as now. I think as I hear for the first time all the things that he's gone through, there was a transition when at least Reggie and myself, we was leaving off for going to college and all of those things. There was a void. And so again, it's unfortunate. But again, if knowing him then and now, Earl still has that big heart and again, he will reach out and help anyone. I'm very proud of him. I'm just happy that you guys are giving him this opportunity, and I'm sure that he's going to take advantage of it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And Reggie Bryant? Can we hear
Yes.
from you?
Thank you, members of the board, for this opportunity to speak on my cousin's behalf. I've known Jonathan all of his life. He's nearly 50 years on this earth. He has always been a gregarious kid, very sociable. Everybody likes him. As early as I can remember, at age 9, he would drive my mother's car. He was always good with his hands, always outgoing. He could fix anything. On his mother's side of the family, all of since have gone on. We have one aunt left, and it would be a great benefit to our family to have him, if the board will allow the leniency, to have him released to us. Although we have no aunts and uncles left, and his mother and my mother, we do have a plethora of cousins that will give him the support that he needs. I can see that he's been programming here while he's been here. It's 31 years. And I think it will be a great benefit to him and our family if he were released. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Bryant, before we turn it over to Mr. Samadine, is there a statement you'd like to make to us?
Yes, I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be here. I would like to say that I'm very, very sorry for the crime I've committed, to my victims, Bobby Beecham's family, to my family, as well as my community. If you all would grant me a hearing, I promise you, like I promised my mother 2 years ago, would have been 2 years ago today, make for the death of my mother. And I promised my mother that I would never do anyone else, any bodily harm, any kind of form, shape, or fashion. If you all will grant me, I will never break the law no more in life. I will try to go out, I will go out there and be a productive individual in society. If you all would please give me one more chance.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Samadine.
Thank you, members of the board. At 19 years old, coming into the Louisiana State Penitentiary, Mr. Jonathan Bryant saw life as he knew it as over. Today, at 49 years old, Mr. Bryant reflects on those same moments as the start of strengthening his then underdeveloped mind and changing his unacceptable decision-making into becoming a man of his true character. With Class A trustee status and only 9 write-ups in a span of 31 years, Mr. Bryant has dedicated himself to staying out of trouble, paralleling to his ability to follow rules within society. With gained experience from multiple jobs and his leadership and service within the J Unity Club, he is a consistent mentor and teacher through his skills and passions. With a low Tiger Risk Needs Assessment score, there is strong indication that he is a low risk for recidivism. With the support of the Louisiana Parole Project and his family behind me, Mr. Bryant is ready to go out into society. He spent the last almost 31 years working to become a changed individual following the serious crime he committed. With the possibility to have an outside relationship with his 30-year-old son, and on the 2-year anniversary of his mother's death, he sits before you as a changed man to humbly ask for a second chance at life and at living. Mr. Jonathan Bryant respectfully requests his honorable board to recommend to the governor that his life sentence be commuted to a term of years. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. I think we are prepared to vote. Mr. Rutsche?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Bryant, based upon positive remarks for Warden Ambrose. Completion of all basic good time programs, a good disciplinary conduct record, only nine write-ups in 31 years of incarceration. Last one being, in 2016, so it's been 7 years. A low risk assessment, no prior criminal activity, this is your only arrest. My recommendation to the governor is to commute your sentence to 75 years with immediate parole eligibility.
Mr. Marabella.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Brian, I've listened intently to all of your supporters and Mr. Roche's interview with you. My vote is the same as his. Good luck to you.
Mr. Freeman.
I concur with my colleague and my vote.
All right, Mr. Bryant, and I also agree. I was quite impressed with the number of letters of support from the officials at the penitentiary. Speaking to your work and your work ethic and your service, you have an excellent conduct record, and so my vote is the same. So on your behalf, we'll make the recommendation that your sentence would be commuted to 75 years. To be immediately parole eligible. Good luck to you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.